لا من عباده الأصفياء وشرح صدورنا بمعرفة الأولياء ومحبة الأزكياء. ثم الصلاة والسلام على البشير النذير والسراج المنير أبا القاسم المصطفى محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. عبد الله المؤيد من عند الله. We were discussing the issue in order to understand why should we remember Imam Husain every year, every day in our life. We said that because from one aspect, when we look at it, you can look at the event of Karbala from different perspectives. You can look at it from the socio-political aspect. This is one of my own favorites. Geopolitical aspect of the movement of Imam al-Hussein is very important. Usually we talk about the political aspect. You have heard about the political aspect, but much more important in the long term is the geopolitical aspect of the movement of Imam al-Hussein, that it needs another time, maybe something like 20, 30 sessions, to talk about why, what happens. Is this because that is the answer to so many questions. That is the answer to so many questions, that actually the event of Karbala is the moment that Shia separates from the others. Sometimes, they accuse us that Shia is created later, as if there is original school as Ahlus Sunnah, and then Shia is a sect to be created later. This is not a fact. This is not a fact. And this, I really feel sorry when I see that even our ulama, they come to talk about the issue that when Shia was created. This is not a fact. Shia was there at the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they existed. The Shia who considered theologically after Rasulullah, the position of Khilafah is for Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam. They existed. They were there in the event of Ghadir, in so many other occasions, that you see that it is in different occasions, in different hadiths mentioned in the hadithi books like Musnad Ahmad and the other places, that when Amirul Mu'mineen is chosen as the fourth caliph, one of the first things he did in Rahba, in a place called Rahba near to Kufa, he said, Unshadukumullah, for the sake of Allah, any of you who were present in Ghadir, to stand up and bear witness what they heard. And the hadith says that 30 people or more than 30 people from Sahaba, they raised and said, yeah, we were there, and we heard that Rasulullah said, Ali is the Mawla and Khalifa and successor after me. So Imam Ali alayhi salam, when he's the caliph, when he's Khalifa, so he doesn't need. So if merely it was the issue of Khilafah, he didn't need that anymore. And you cannot say that Ali wanted people to love him. Now he's making him to confess, now please love me. This is not the case. Khilafah is one aspect, loving is one aspect. The religious authority of Amirul Mu'mineen, who is the one who can decide what is right and what is wrong for you. After Amirul Mu'mineen was killed, after Muawiyah was successful to take over the power from Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam, he did critical things that totally changed the mindset of Muslims. Hassan al-Basri is one of the very outstanding figures for Ahlus Sunnah. Hassan al-Basri, some people say he saw the Prophet, or no, he was very young. Anyhow, he's from Tabi'in, one of the outstanding figures in Tabi'in. At his time, he says, from the sunnah of the Prophet, nothing except Qibla is remaining. Everything is changed. They changed everything except Qibla. So Imam Husain alayhi salam was living at a time that this society, it needs a shock. A shock that by that shock, then another way of interpreting Islam will be available. They hijacked ulama from Medina to Damascus. So you see that after the peace agreement, Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam rushes to Medina because Medina was empty from ulama. Every ulama, under the pretext of respecting and supporting ulama, they were invited to Damascus, to the Levant, and now they were under the influence. They had to say things that they were supposed to think. Imam Hakim Nishaburi is one of the outstanding figures among Ahlul Sunnah. He is the author of Al-Mustadrak al-Sahihain. Al-Mustadrak al-Sahihain is written by him. Actually, it is the third, you can say, the younger sister to Sahih Muslim and Bukhari. They broke his minbar in masjid, didn't let him to come to masjid. You mentioned Faza'il for Ali, you are not allowed to come to masjid unless to mention the very similar hadiths or better for Muawiyah, then you can enter the masjid. One of ulama came to him and said, now you say something, then they will be pleased and they will let you inside. He said, my heart doesn't accept. How can I do that? Shamsuddin al-Dhahabi is one of the outstanding figures for Ahlul Sunnah. He's Salafi in his theological approach. He says, I saw a book in 4 volumes about Ghadir. Then after that, I made sure that the event of Ghadir took place. 4 volumes. Zahabi says, I saw a book from Tabari, the famous historian. He says, I saw a 4-volume book from Tabari. Reading it, I made sure, he says this in Siyaru A'lam al-Nubala. Zahabi has mentioned it there. He said, I saw 4-volume books from Tabari about Ghadir, then I made sure that the event of Ghadir took place. But the very event of Ghadir, the very person, Tabari, who is capable to write 4-volume books, you don't find a single word about it in Tariq Tabari. A single word is not there in Tariq Tabari. Because if he was to write, then the book was done. The book was done. So under such heavy conditions, Abu Abdullah al-Husain has a movement that it protected the interpretation of Ahlul Bayt from Islam. So Shia is not created at that time. Shia separated. And actually, in a better sense, Shia was not separated. The others separated. Now Shia was alone. Because Ahlul Sunnah, all Shia and Sunni Muslimin, they accepted Rasulullah. Then in the occasion of Khilafah, there were different views. Anyhow, when the first Khalifa was chosen, Shia didn't do anything against them. Even Amir al-Mu'minin, he came and supported them. Because Ali is a selfless person. And Shia of Ali, Huzayfat ibn Yaman and the others, you see that Huzayfat ibn Yaman is one of the influential figures in opening Iran. He's one of the great companions of Amir al-Mu'minin, one of the great Shia. Salman the same, Abu Zar there. Ammar, these people that we consider them to be Shia, they didn't separate. They didn't say we have another school. While they believed that, you see that in Tariq Tabari, it is there. Even Ansar in Tariq Tabari, in Saqifa, when they were discussing about who should be Khalifa, Ansar said, Inna la nubaya'u illa Aliyya. Ali is not there. Ali is not one of the nominees. Tariq Tabari says, the Ansar said, Inna la nubaya'u illa Aliyya. Only Ali. So why? Ali is not there to say that I am one of the nominees. So they had something in the background. Something is mentioned. With all these things, they didn't separate. So Shia were there serving the cause of Islam at the time of Khulafa. Then it comes to the time of Amir al-Mu'mineen. The others separated. They began the Battle of Camel, the Battle of Nahrawan, the Battle of Siffin. Then those who separated from the mainstream of Islam, they went to Muawiyah. And those who separated, because mainstream paid allegiance to Amir al-Mu'mineen. Then those who separated from the mainstream after the peace treaty with Imam al-Hassan, they became the majority because they had the power in their hand. The mainstream Islam became minority. And this mainstream Islam continued as Shia. Of course, at that time was known as Alawi, and the others were known as Osmanis. The term Ahlul Sunnah is used and coined by Ahmad Hanbal at the year 150 almost. They were called Osmanis. So we had the Osmanis and Alawis. Later, Alawis were called Shia and the others were Osmanis. So what continued the teachings of Ahlul Bayt and Alawis, kept it alive. One of the very important things is this Agha of Abu Abdullah al-Husain alayhi salam. The event of Ghadir is denied 2 months after Ghadir. It was denied. They said, we didn't hear. Somebody said, my ears were heavy, I didn't hear. Imam Ali cursed him. But this Agha of Abu Abdullah al-Husain alayhi salam kept this movement alive. Then you see that those who hesitate about Ghadir, nobody can hesitate about the event of Karbala. This Agha, these cryings, this passion, this beating the chest, these emotions didn't let Ashura to be forgotten or to be denied. Otherwise, it was not difficult if there was no such emotion to say that, no, Hussein was killed in an accident. So the shining star is always there. They couldn't deny it. They couldn't kill the name. And this Agha kept the name alive. But what we have to do is we should struggle to benefit. We have the Wilaya, all these stories, to keep with Wilaya of Ahlul Bayt, to pay for that, the heavy expenses that Shia has paid for that. If you look at the history of Shia has paid. Ibn Kathir says in his Tariq that at the 5th century, he says they swept Shia from Africa. They swept. They tried not to let any single Shia to exist in Africa. So, with all those stories, it is so unfortunate if we do not benefit from this school the way it is supposed to be. The way that we have to benefit from. So at the end, then we look at us and the others. They say, okay, you had Wilaya, then what did you obtain from Wilaya? People say, wa hasrata ala ma farrattu fi janbillah. They feel regret how much I lost fi janbillah. Jan means beside Allah, near to Allah. Our hadith says, Janbullah is Amir al-Mu'mineen, and this regret is for the followers and lovers of Amir al-Mu'mineen. When they see on that day how much they lost and how much they could have, the positions they could obtain, and they lost it because of being careless. This pain is there for the lovers of Ali. Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam said, Wallahi ma ba'dana ghayrukum. When Imam talks about maqamat, maqam Mahmud, and the position which is there for Ahlul Bayt, said, Wallahi ma ba'dana ghayrukum. Surah to Allah, there is nobody there after us except you. وَإِنَّكُمْ مَعَنَا فِي السَّنَامِ الْأَعْلَى. You are with us in أعلى إليين. فَتَنَافَسُوا فِي الدَّرَجَاتِ. Compete each other in the positions to get close to us, because it matters how far you are going to be from Abu Abdullah in Jannah. How today in Dystonia, in the Cape Town, how much it matters to you which area, which location is your house. It matters to you. While you're going to live in this house for 30 years, 20 years, 40 years, after that it's done. It matters to you which location of the city you're living. So when it comes to Jannah, when it comes to everlasting life, then what I am going to do there, how much I'm going to get. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, there are mu'mins that his land is, the land that he has is more than 7 earth. Put earth, how much is earth? Make it flat, multiply it in 7. The Prophet says it's more than that for a mu'min. Again, this is a kind of analogy, might be bigger than these things. So in that realm of life where you're going to, and it is everlasting life. So we put Imam Husain in this context. We said that, we talked about it, that we should look at Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam from a greater perspective. That is good, I said, it's good to ask for shifa, it's good to ask for anything we need in the life, but these are small things. They are for greater things in our life, to role greater, to have greater roles in our lives. We talked about the vegetational level, the animal level, the angels level, the level of man. This is what's important. Otherwise, we go there, we die, we go there. This is very painful when you look at the whole struggle of you in 70 years, 80 years equals, another person's 5 minutes of his life. The time that I was young, I was learning English, I remember. I used to go to one institute. So I spent 3 years there. Then after that, I went to another institute to see how they work. And I saw that the students there, the progress they had in 1 year was sort of equal to our 3 years because of the different style. So it was very painful, very painful. 3 years of mine equals 1 year of these people. It was very painful. And then you go and see that 80 years of mine equals 1 minute of a person, 3 minutes of a person. We are happy that we have achieved something. We go there, we see that there is nothing. Aliyatun khafeza. This is one of the names of Qiyamah Quran. It says Aliyatun khafeza. It raises some people. There are people that, when you used to see them in this dunya, to ignore them. No, this is nobody. But they were men of Allah. Aliyah, that they will raise them. The positions, they are kings. And khafeza, some people will be brought down. People who had big names. You will see them nothing there. Awliyatun khafiza. So it is very important to see that what we are doing, at least to know, at least if we are going to make the deal, to know where we are standing. And we said that in order to find out the position of a human being, what man is, I said we have to compare the quest in these levels. What is the quest of a plant? What is the quest of an animal? What is the quest of the angels? What is the quest of human being? When you look at the quest of human being, when you study man, we see that man is of an infinite, endless quest. Desires exist in the heart. It is not to be the kings, the rich people, all of them died thirsty. Nobody felt, enough and pleased, unless those people who were with Allah, that is another story. But those who those who were with Allah, they found the right thing. So we said that this infinite thing should be kind of existential, otherwise Adam or non-existence doesn't have any effect. And non-existence, because there is no effect, you cannot be interested in that. Then there should be compliance between what you desire and between you. So if you look for infinity, for endless reality, endless beauty, endless power, endless of everything, then there might be some compliance between your existence and that, referring to capability of being with that. And we said about the capacity, to have the capacity to get into infinity and to have the knowledge about it. Deep in your heart, you know about infinity, then you look for that. And experiencing that, you have experienced it somehow, then you look for that. So, this infinite being that there is endless existence, what do you want to call it? Call it whatever you like. Let's call it He. Quran calls it Who. We can call it Who. He. In English you say He. That being, that existent, it has all the beauty with it. Endless beauty, endless power, endless wisdom, endless knowledge, endless of any virtue that you can say, because any virtue is an existential thing, and that being should be infinite. So this is what we call it in Quran, Allah. So it's only the matter of naming. Allah is al-ismul mustajmi' li jami' as-sifat. So that infinite being that I'm looking for, it has all the perfect beings in itself. And it cannot be limited. That existence cannot be limited. It's infinite. What can limit that being? What can limit it? We have only two things. One is existence, the other is non-existence. You don't have more than two things, existence or non-existence. Can existence put limit to him or not? No, because existence is the same as existence. If he is infinite existence, so it doesn't make sense to have another existence because they are existence. Are you with me? Existence cannot be two, because existence is existence. And if they want to be two, there might be something between them, as Imam as-Sadiq alayhi salam said, to separate them. So what is between these two? If it is existence or non-existence. If it is non-existence, means there is nothing between them. Non-existence means doesn't exist. Means there is nothing between them. Right now, what is between my two hands? What do you see? Something or nothing? Nothing. This nothing is wrong. Nothing is wrong. This is the wrong answer. When you say nothing, means that you are saying that there is no liquid, there is no solid, but there is gas. Gas exists between my two hands. This is not non-existent. Something exists. We said objects are whether solid or liquid or gas. Gas exists between my two hands, so there is not non-existence. So basically, it is wrong to say none, because what is there? When you say something is there, is cannot be non-existent, because non-existent is isn't. When you say is, cannot be isn't. When something, what is in my hand, you cannot say nothing. Otherwise, these two hands should be one. If they are two hands separate, there might be something between them. So when we are saying non-existent, we don't mean something empty. Emptiness does not mean non-existent. Non-existent means something which doesn't exist. So if Allah, that exists, and you call it Allah or whatever, that being, if there is another existence beside it, so there might be two. If they are two, what is between two to separate them? If there is nothing, then they will join, they will be one. One existence. Again, it's one. If it is two, there might be something between them. If this something which is between them is non-existent, means that it doesn't exist. If nothing doesn't exist there, means again they are one. Because you're saying nothing exists between them. If it is non-existent, means there is nothing between them. If it is existent, then we will ask about that existent. What is that? Is it created by one of these two? If it is created, means it was not there before. So who created that? And what was there before that? Before the coming of the third one? They were one or two. If it didn't came there, means it is also everlasting. So everlasting, again, it is a limit between them. Then there might be something between these three. You didn't solve the problem. There might be two objects between these three to separate them. And it goes to infinite. So when I look at that infinite being that my desire takes me for and to look for, it cannot be more than one. Because if it's going to be two, I said, again, another time. I know a little bit difficult, but no problem. It should be recorded, inshallah. If it is going to be two, the second is existent or non-existent. If it is non-existent, this is contradiction, because non-existent doesn't exist. Non-existent, you cannot say that the other is non-existent. It means that nothing exists. So it should be some existent. If it is existent, again, what is between two? It cannot be two. So it's ahad. Ahad means it's the one that second cannot be considered or imagined for that. That the source of beauty, the infinite source, which has all the beauties, it should be only one. And you know the difference between ahad and wahid. Ahad is the one that the second cannot be imagined for that, cannot be imagined. Then it is, if it is infinite being, you cannot imagine a time that it was created. You cannot imagine a beginning for that. Because infinite means there is no end, there is no beginning, no end. If it is a beginning for that, means it is the beginning, so it's not infinite, it began from that time. So if it began from that time, before beginning, was it existent or non-existent? If it was non-existent, this is contradiction, because you're saying non-existent existed before him, while non-existent cannot exist. So existence cannot have a beginning. You cannot imagine a time that existence began, because if it began from existence, in Arabic we call it tahsil hasil, means something which was already, you are considering it to come to existence. If it wasn't, then it means that non-existent existed. This is impossible. This is what, Russell made Russell to be kafir. Russell was a famous, outstanding European philosopher. At the end, he said that I left Christianity, he became atheist, because he couldn't understand that if God created everything, then what created God? And how come that God came to existence? This is a wrong question. Because when you say, when God came to existence, you're saying that before this existence, what was there? Means there was a time that he was not there. At that time that the existence was not there, you are going to say that non-existent was there. While non-existent cannot exist, you are imagining existence of non-existence. Then there cannot be a beginning for that. So huwa al-awwal, lam yalid. Lam yalid wa lam yulad. This is lam yulad. Didn't come from anything. Lam yalid means didn't create anything outside himself. Didn't create anything outside himself. This is infinite existence. Allah cannot Not cannot, Allah, it is impossible to create anything out of existence. You have only existence and non-existence. So whatever is going to be created is existence. Non-existent cannot be existent, impossible. This is contradiction. If Allah is going to create things from non-existence, it means that something which didn't exist came to existence. So He created from His infinite existence. This is lam yulad, means there is nothing to come to existence out of existence. And in this existence, He doesn't need any other thing because there is nothing other than existence, so He is Samad. So you see, all the names of Allah are inside me. When I look at if I can imagine properly the concept of existence and non-existence after believing in those 6 principles, that I have the desire to infinite existence, then you will see that everything is inside me. حافظ says سالها دل طلب جام جم از ما می کرد وانچه خود داشت ز بیگانه تمنا می کرد. He says, my heart for years he could to desire something. Jam jam is in the Persian legends, it's a cup. Jamshid, the ancient Persian king, had it. Then when you look at it, you can see the whole universe. It teaches the whole universe. Everything is inside the cup. That is actually the heart of Arif that reflects the whole reality of existence. When Arif becomes reflection of Allah, tajalli, and reflection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا, all the names of Allah reflects in the heart, it becomes like a mirror. So in the Irfani metaphor is that they call it cup, that cup, you can see everything inside that. He says, for years my heart desired for that. بیدلی در همه احوال خدا با او بود او نمیدیدش و از دور خدایا میکرد. He says this impatient person for years, God was with him, inside him, but he didn't see him, and from distance he used to call Ya Allah, Ya Allah. God was inside him. مشکل خیش بر پیر مغان بردم بود دوش کو به تأیید نظر حل معما میکرد. گفتمش دیدمش خرم و خندان قدح باده به دست. He says, I saw the person he notified this reality, happy in rapture. I said, when did you receive this wine, the pure wine? He says, گفت آن روز که اون گنبد مینا میکرد. The very first day of creation, everlasting moment. So he's about to say that everything is inside you, that infinite beauty. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Quran says, سَنُرِيهِمْ آيَاتَنَا فِي الْآفَاقِ وَفِي أَنفُسِهِمْ. We will show our signs in the creation, in the universe, and within themselves. أَوَلَمْ يَكْفِ بِرَبِّكَ أَنَّهُ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ شَهِيدٌ. Doesn't it enough or suffice you, Lord, that He is visible in everything. Shaheed means mashhood here. أَوَلَمْ يَكْفِ بِرَبِّكَ أَنَّهُ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ شَهِيدٌ. Allah is visible in everything. As Amirul Mu'mineen, Amirul Kalam said, Allah is in everything. في الأشياء داخل في الأشياء بلا ممازجة وخارج عنها بلا مزايلة. Only Ali can speak this way. He is inside things without being mixing with them, and he is out of them without separating them. Now imagine this hand of me, if somebody is to cut this finger, the finger is gone. Should I feel that I am now separated in two? No. I still feel what I am. You see people, they have lost their hands, they have lost their legs, but still they feel what they are. They don't feel that they are half human. a quarter human. Still you feel human. So you are inside the body. You cannot say that I am outside this body. You are inside this. داخل في الأشياء. بلا ممازجة. You are inside without mixing with it. When the body is chopped, you don't feel that you are chopped. وخارج عنها بلا مزايلة. But you are out without separating. At the same time, you feel that you are inside this. And the hadith says, من عرف نفسه فقد عرف ربه. If you know yourself, then you will know your God, your Lord. سنريهم آياتنا في الآفاق وفي أنفسهم. Within them, they can see Allah. It is a manifestation of Allah. It is reflection of Allah. Imam Husain alayhi salam said, أَلَّغَيْرَكَ مِنَ الظُّهُورِ مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ. Is there any manifestation for anything other than you to show you to me? Urafa, they make the analogy of the moon. They say, for people who cannot raise their head to look at the moon, they have to look at the river, then they will see the picture of the moon in the river. But when I can raise my hand to look at the moon itself, I don't need to look at the river. This is not the moon, this is the reflection of the moon. I can look at the moon itself. Imam Husain alayhi salam says, if I want to look at the things existing around me, that everything reflects you, but it makes me far from you, I can look at you. When I look at my inside, I see you inside. This concept is so strong for Abu Abdullah al-Husayn alayhi salam, for Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam, that says, this is the most obvious thing. Amiyat aynun la tarak. Those who cannot see you, they are blind. It's not my problem. They are blind humans, might be sighted animals, but blind humans. So if the humanity is awake, people can see that beauty, the everlasting beauty. So this is the meaning of La ilaha illallah. Is that then you come to a kind of shuhud. I said this is ma'rifah, this is shuhud, this is not knowledge. You will see that infinite beauty is there, the infinite sort of knowledge, infinite source of every existential beauty and perfection is inside me. And anything other than Him is non-existent, and non-existent doesn't exist. So only one thing exists. It cannot be created, it cannot be started from a time, because if it's going to be started from a time, it means that before Him there was non-existent, while non-existent cannot be existent. It means that there is no beginning for Him. Huwal awwal, huwal akhir. You see, we are not reciting any hadith or Quran, this is aql. If you are capable to imagine in your mind the concept of non-existence and existent, you will see that it is impossible for non-existent to be existent. Because this is contradiction. Because you are saying something which is not. Is and is not is impossible together. So it means that there is no beginning, there is no end, there is no limit. All the beauty is there. Then you can say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Shuhud is bearing witness. You cannot bear witness to something that you have heard from someone. If you cannot see Allah, you cannot say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. You cannot say that because the Prophet came, a Prophet by the name of Rasul Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam came and said, you have to say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. I'm saying Ashhadu. This is wrong. You have to see Him. Then you can bear witness. If you are going to court to bear witness, I saw this person killing that person. They say shuhud should be an hissin. You have to see it yourself. You cannot say that to go to court and say, I didn't see myself, but I trust this person. This person said he has sinned. This is not kind of bearing witness. Then they say, you keep silent and he will speak. This is not bearing. Bearing witness should be an hissin, should be from a kind of experience and this hiss. You have to have it. Then you can say, Ashhadu Allah ilaha illallah. When you feel that you are from that beauty, you are coming from that eternal, everlasting reality. And Imam Husain is supposed to take your hand to raise you to that place, to that realm of understanding. So this is a very serious story. And Imam, leader, is one of the most important arham, rahim, the womb. We have wombs in this dunya. We are in the womb of dunya. Once we were in the womb of the mother, we came to this dunya. This dunya is another, a bigger womb. From this womb we will be born in barzakh. From barzakh, which is another womb, we will be born in qiyamah. And that is, Quran says, la hayawan, that is the real life. You will be born on qiyamah. Otherwise, before qiyamah, you are in different wombs. And in this dunya, one of the greatest wombs that we have is Imam. You are within the wilaya of Imam. Wilaya of Imam is a big womb that can increase you. It can help you to increase and to develop. One of the Urafa says, I saw someone in Khurasan. He said that to raise from this stage of Irfan to another stage, it took me 45 years. It took me 45 years to go from, for example, the position 2 to position 3. It took me 45 years. He says, when I went back to Khurasan, I told to my master that, to my ustad, that I saw someone in another place. He told me this. He said that 45 years. He said that my students go through that stage in 1 year. In 1 year, I help the person to go through that stage. If you have a teacher, if you have a master to take your hand to say what you have to do, you go through that stage in 1 year. But you don't have a start, you don't have a person to teach you, you waste 45 years of struggle. And Imam is the greatest womb that can help you save a big amount of your time. And you can, with Imam, to ascend to higher levels. Inshallah, I will talk one night about Imam and what is the function of Imam here. Then to see that what is the function of Imam and how Imam can, and then you will see that why should a live Imam be there? What is the function of Imam which is qaib? So you have to be with that existence. Without that existence, one of the usuluddin we have is ma'ad. We call it day of qiyamah. Ma'ad means to return. You return to somewhere that you're coming from. After I finish Majlis here, I will return to Johannesburg. But if I'm going to go, for example, to Port Elizabeth, this is not returning. This is going. Returning is to somewhere that you're coming from. Ma'ad means oud, to go back to him, to that sort of beauty. You're coming from him. You're going back to him. So without considering this haqiqah, this reality, there is no ma'ad. Ma'ad will not have any meaning. So that is the definition of a human being. You are a human being when you find yourself in that infinity, that you may call it fawq al-tajarrud, fawq al-aql, or whatever, meta-aql, meta-intellect, meta-wisdom. You can call it any name. That meta-wisdom is the position of human being. And the faculty that you have in that realm is heart, is qalb. Quran calls it qalb. And the function of qalb is hub, love. Inshallah, we'll talk about it in the coming night. So, we should look at the story from such perspective, then inshallah we can find our humanity. And we can see these humans, the examples, the great examples with Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. The companions of Abu Abdullah al-Husain alayhi salam are some of the shining stars of these men who achieved the position of humanity. After the posterity that Imam al-Hasan al-Mushtaba had to go back to Medina, Huzaifa ibn Yaman is with him. Huzaifa says that there was a camel. Imam was very careful, very cautious to that camel, checking it again and again. So I thought that maybe there is gold or some wealthy thing that Imam is careful not to lose the attention from it. Then I asked, what valuable thing you have there on the camel? Imam alayhi salam said, there is a book, the name of all our Shia in that book. Then he says, I was very surprised. You know, Huzaifa is a great companion of Rasulullah. Huzaifa is the person, when those 12 people that Quran says they were about to assassinate the Prophet, Huzaifa was the bodyguard of the Prophet and he knew those people. And the Prophet commanded him to keep silent and not to expose the names. Then he was a great companion of Amir al-Mu'minin, later Imam al-Hasan al-Mushtaba. He said that, can I see the book? Imam said, not yet, but you can come tomorrow. He says, tomorrow I went to Imam's house with my brother's son, with my nephew, because I couldn't read, but my brother's son, he could read, so I took him to read. We went to the house of Imam al-Hasan al-Mushtaba, and I said, Agha, you had a promise, now I want to see the book. Again, if, you know, Shia is difficult. We are lovers of Ahlul Bayt. To be Shia and to have your name in that book is a difficult process. So he says, I was very curious to see that whether my name is in the book or not, Huzaifa says. So he asked permission from Imam al-Hasan al-Mushtaba. The Imam brought the book. He says that he found my name in the book. I was so happy. I said, then I don't want anything from dunya. If my name is in this book, I don't want anything from dunya. Because these people, you know, they were with Amir al-Mu'minin. They lived with Amir al-Mu'minin. They know who Amir al-Mu'minin was. Then he says, my brother's son, he said, ask permission from Imam al-Hasan al-Mushtaba. Can I page it to see other names? Imam said, yes, you can. I give you permission. Then the hadith is in Basair al-Darajat. You know, Basair al-Darajat is one of the very important sources of Shia by late Safwar rahmatullah alayhi. It is before Usul al-Kafi. Even many hadiths late Kulaini has taken from Basair al-Darajat. It's prior to Usul al-Kafi. The hadith is there in Basair al-Darajat. Then he says that Huzaifa's brother's son, nephew, he was shocked when he saw his name there. The name was there, and he said, oh, there is a light coming out of my name. Saying that Huzaifa's name was just written, but my name, there is a light in that. What I have done, I didn't do anything. What should it be like that? Then Imam al-Hasan al-Mushtaba alayhi salam cried and said, you are among those people who will be killed with Abu Abdullah al-Husain alayhi salam. You are from Shuhada Karbala, and you people have a different position. In Ziyarah you say, I bear witness that there are no ashab like the ashab of Abu Abdullah al-Husain alayhi salam. These are they are not ordinary people. One of them is Habib bin Mazahir. You have heard about him. You know him. one of the oldest companions of Abu Abdullah al-Husayn alayhi salam. He's a sheikh. He's one of the people of, they call them Ashabul Balaya wal Manaya. Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam, gifted them, some of them gifted the knowledge of Balaya. Balaya means that the calamities, hardships, difficulties that will fate people, and Manaya means death. They knew that what's going to happen to people. This person, how would he die? What would happen to him? This person, they knew about the death of people and the way that they will be killed. So we have the hadith that even Maysamet Hammar was told, even Rashid Hijri was told. These people, they were taught by Amirul Mu'mineen Ilmul Balaya wal Manaya. So Habib is one of them. So he had such a position that Amirul Mu'mineen gave them such gifts of the knowledge. He's a very loyal companion to Amirul Mu'mineen, later to Imam al-Hasan al-Mushtaba, later to Abdullah al-Husayn alayhi salam. And when Abu Abdullah al-Husayn alayhi salam received Karbala, as if there was a secret between these people. They knew it. They were waiting for that. When we look at the letter is very meaningful. Imam sent two letters to, one letter Imam sent to his brother Muhammad bin Ali, Mohammadi Hanafiya. Another letter was sent to Habib. Before coming to Karbala, Imam sent letters to Basra, to Kufa. But when Imam alayhi salam was in Karbala, only these two letters were sent to Mohammadi Hanafiya and to his brother, to his Habib. In the letter that Imam sends to Habib, again the letter is very strong. The letter which Imam sent to Mohammadi Hanafiya, Imam says, بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم من حسين بن علي إلى محمد بن علي إن الدنيا كأن الدنيا لم تكن وكأن الآخرة لم تزل والسلام. A short sentence. كأن الدنيا لم تكن. Dunya as if it didn't exist. وكأن الآخرة لم تزل. And as if akhirah, there is no end to it. As-salam. Short sentence, but it's very strong, full of concepts. That anyone who came with me is going to be the kings of eternality. Those who stayed in this dunya, كأن الدنيا لم تكن. As if this dunya didn't exist. So those who didn't come with me, they are losers. And you may feel that there were among Bani Hashim some people who didn't come, because Imam says to Muhammad ibn Hanafiya and the Bani Hashim who are there, كأن الدنيا لم تكن وكأن الآخرة لم تزل والسلام. The letter that Imam alayhi salam sent to Habib, بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم من الحسين بن علي بن أبي طالب عليه السلام إلى أخيه النجيب حبيب. To the respected brother Habib. أما بعد يا حبيب فقد نزلنا كربلاء. We are in Karbala. So they had a appointment. They knew about it. Karbala is meaningful to them. In Luhuf, we have it that when they reached Karbala, Imam al-Husayn alayhi salam asked about the name of the land. They said Qadisiyya. Imam said another name, Nainawa, something like 7 names they mentioned. Then they said Karbala. Says when they said Karbala, says Tanaffas as-Sa'da. Imam breathed like a person who is relieved from the pain. Now, this is this is the place that the lovers will sacrifice their lives for the beloved. So the letter that Imam alayhi salam sent to Habib, Imam said, Amma ba'd ya Habib, faqad nazalna Karbala. We are in Karbala. وَقَدْ بَانَتْ مِنْ أَهْلِ الْكُوفَةِ الْخِيَانَةِ. The Kufis, they betrayed. فإن كنت يا حبيب تروم أن تحظى بالسعادة الأبدية فبادر إلى نصرتنا والسلام. If you want the eternal happiness, come to us. والسلام. And the history says when the letter came, Habib's wife said, "What is this letter?" And he knew about it. Because they were afraid. They couldn't speak. History says that they couldn't speak even at their own homes. They couldn't trust their children. They couldn't trust their wives. They couldn't trust their daughters. They couldn't trust their servants. The wife said, "Do you want to go?" Habib said, "No. If I go, Ubaidullah will destroy our house." The wife said, "Then you want to let Hussein alone?" Habib said, "If I go, they will hurt you." And the history says that the wife of Habib put his scarf on the head of Habib and said, "Then shame on you. If you don't want to go, then help Hussein." Then Habib made sure that no, the wife can be trusted. Then he said, "What do you know? They will go." He came the day to market, two things. He saw that the people are very busy in the market preparing themselves to go and fight Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. In the market, he saw Muslim ibn Awsaja. He said, "Muslim, how are you? What are you doing?" He said, "We are going to the appointment. Hussein is in Karbala." Habib asked him, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm going to buy a hair color." He wanted to, because it's mustahab, to color your hair to be black or to red or to yellow. It's mustahab, like Hana. He said, "I want to buy khazab." Habib said, "Forget about it. I want to show a khazab. I want to show a color that will be on your hair for the day of till the day of Qiyamah. I want to show you the most beautiful khazab you can use ever. To have your beard mukhazzaban bidamika, to be covered in your blood for the sake of Abu Abdullah, in the way of Allah." Then Habib got the message, Muslim got the message, and they came together. They found the ways to come and reach Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. The history says when Habib and Muslim, two old men, are coming, the children and the family of Abu Abdullah, they were so happy seeing them. Because all these days, just the enemy was being increased. Every man coming, thousands of people going and joining the army of Yazid to the army of Imam al-Husayn. Nobody is coming. And now two gentlemen came that they are worthy. They are worthy. They had a rajas, they had a poem that they used to recite before the fight to show their bravery, the position. In the rajas that Habib recited, he mentioned this point that we are few in number, but we are pure, and you are big in number, but we are dirty, so we are winners. At the night of Ashura, one of the Ashab saw that Habib and Burair, they are sort of joking and laughing. He said, tonight is not the night for laughing. Habib said, "No, this is the night for laughing. This is the night for being happy. Tomorrow we are with Rasulullah in Jannah. Why shouldn't I laugh? Tonight we are like the brides. Why shouldn't we laugh? Why shouldn't we be happy?" Then Nafi was with Imam al-Husayn alayhi salam, checking behind the khiyam, the tents, to make sure that the enemy is not there. Imam went into the tent of Lady Zainab salamullahi alayha. Nafi was outside the tent. He heard that Lady Zainab is worried, talking to Abu Abdullah loudly, that, "Are you sure that tomorrow these people will not leave you alone?" Nafi said it was very heavy on me that Lady Zainab is worried about us. I came to Habib and said that Lady Zainab is worried about our loyalty. He said it was very heavy on Habib. He stood up and said, all my brothers come with me. He says, all even Bani Hashim raised. He said, no, Bani Hashim, no. I'm talking just to the servants. You are the masters. Just the servants come with me. They came to the tent of Abu Abdullah. They called, and Abu Abdullah came. Lady Zainab came out. And Habib said, we are not going to let Abu Abdullah alone. And if we waited for tomorrow, it was because Abu Abdullah commanded us to wait. Otherwise, we would already finish the story. Then Lady Zainab Salamullah alayha had dua for them. But tomorrow, when Habib went to the battlefield after a few of the Sahaba, he asked permission. Abu Abdullah gave him permission. He went and fought for a while. He killed some of the enemy. Before Abu Abdullah's coming, Habib was beheaded. When Habib was injured, there was a rivalry for those people to take the head of Habib. One of them, before the others, beheaded Habib and took the head of Habib, hanging it around the neck of his horse as the sign of victory, then to get the reward from Ubaydullah. When Abu Abdullah came, Abu Abdullah saw the beheaded body of Habib, and it was very heavy. Then he recited the Marsiya for Habib on that occasion. Then Abu Abdullah said, you were so dear to me, and praised Habib in a very great word. And he said, you were those people, if I wanted life from you, you could bring, you were eager to bring your hearts on your shields to support Abu Abdullah, to support me. But on that day, after some hours, when Abu Abdullah himself was alone, فَلَمَّا وَقَفَ الْحُسَيْنُ فَرِيدًا وَحِيدًا, Abu Abdullah, when he looked at the desert, وَعَلَىٰ أَصْحَابِهِ كُلُّهُمْ مُلْغًا عَلَىٰ وَجْهِ الثَّرَىٰ, he saw all the companions and all those loyal people all are on the ground. Abu Abdullah called, where are you, my loyal companions? Why I'm calling you and nobody is there to help Husain? Abu Abdullah himself came, stood before the enemy. They thought that this is an old man. After all the injuries, being thirsty, he did jihad, so he is weak, the body is weak, all the pressures, he cannot fight. But when he came to battlefield, he was fighting like a hero, like a lion. They said that they cannot defeat Abu Abdullah. They had a promise. Umar ibn Saad made a promise to come and fight one by one, man to man, not to attack in group. But they said that they cannot kill Abu Abdullah. Umar said, Waylakum ya qawm. Why you are fighting this way? They said, why should we do? He said, فَأَحْمِلُوا عَلَيْهِ مِنْ كُلِّ جَانِبٍ. Attack to him from all angles. فَحَمَلُوا إِلَيْهِ فَعَمَلُوا إِلَيْهِ بِأَرْمَالِهِمْ وَسُيُوفِهِمْ. He says, those who could fight, those who had swords, they were attacking Abu Abdullah with the swords. Those who didn't have swords, with the arrows. Those who didn't have arrows, with the stones, attacking Abu Abdullah. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. إلهي حقيقة أبو عبد الله، يا الله 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 يا Allah. O Allah, make our Imam al-Asr pleased with us. O Allah, make the heart of Imam al-Asr happy with each majalis. O Allah, keep the name of all of us among the followers and lovers and Shia of Abu Abdullah al-Husayn alayhi salam. O Allah, all mu'mineen, mu'minat, the followers of Amirul Mu'mineen who passed away, look down on all their shortcomings and failures. O Allah, give shifa to all marza, to all multamisin dua. O Allah, remove the problems and hardships from the lives of mu'mineen, especially those who had iltamas dua. O Allah, keep our children, our progeny, ourselves in the way of Abu Abdullah, with Abu Abdullah in this dunya and akhirah, inshaAllah. O Allah, forgive all our sins and shortcomings for the sake of Abu Abdullah alayhi salam. O Allah, grant us the ziyarah of Abu Abdullah in this dunya, his shafa in akhirah, inshaAllah, bi barakat salawat ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad.
Ya Husain, 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 Ya Husain. Ya Husain, 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 Ya Husain. Ya Husain, Ya Husain, Ya Husain. All alone on the battlefield, all alone on the battlefield. To the falsehood, Husain will never yield. To the love of Allah is a shield. All alone on the battlefield, all alone on the battlefield. To the falsehood, Husain will never yield. For the love of Allah is a shield. All alone on the battlefield. To the falsehood, Husain will never yield. To the falsehood, Husain will never yield. You can do what you can, but he's a man. You can do what you do, but he's a man who will sacrifice all for his iman. Oh, Ya Husain, Ya Husain, Ya Husain. All alone on the battlefield, all alone on the battlefield. To the falsehood, Husain will never yield. For the love of Allah is a shield. On the Prophet's back during prayer he would play. As a child the Prophet about him would say. As a child the Prophet about him would say. This is my Husain, oh let him be. This is my Husain, oh let him be. One day he will save humanity. Oh Ya Husain, Ya Husain, Ya Husain. All alone on the battlefield, all alone on the battlefield. To the falsehood, Husain will never heal, for the love of Allah is a shield. The king of the world is Al Husain. The king of the world is Al Husain. The master of the world is Al Husain. The master of the world is Al Husain. The savior of the deen is Al Husain. Protector of the deen is Al Husain. Oh, Ya Husain, Ya Husain, Ya Husain. All alone on the battlefield. All alone on the battlefield. To the falsehood Husain will never heal, for the love of Allah is a shield. The father of the Prophet Ibrahim, how he worked so hard to spread the deen, how he worked so hard to spread the deen. No Hajj, Zakah, Namaz would there now be. No Hajj, Zakah, Namaz would there now be. Had it not been for Husain ibn Ali. Oh, Ya Husain, Ya Husain, Ya Husain. All alone on the battlefield. All alone on the battlefield. To the falsehood Husain will never heal, for the love of Allah is a shield. The blessed head kissed by Al-Mustafa, how it lies there on the sands of Karbala, how it lies there on the sands of Karbala. The head they try to make low is now raised. The head they try to make low is now raised. Forever Husain's name will be praised. Oh, Ya Husain, Ya Husain, Ya Husain. And all alone on the battlefield. All alone on the battlefield. To the falsehood Husain will never heal, for the love of Allah is a shield. All alone on the battlefield. All alone on the battlefield. To the falsehood Husain will never heal, for the love of Allah is a shield. Ya Husain, Ya
Ya Husain, 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 Ya Husain. अकबर तुम्हें मालूम है क्या मांग रहे हो, तुम बाप से मरने की रज़ा मांग रहे हो। अकबर तुम्हें मालूम है क्या मांग रहे हो, तुम बाप से मरने की रज़ा मांग रहे हो। इस आलम गुर्बत में तुम्हें जाने दूं कैसे, इस आलम गुर्बत में तुम्हें जाने दूं कैसे, इस दश्त मुसीबत में तुम्हें जाने दूं कैसे, इस दश्त मुसीबत में तुम्हें जाने दूं कैसे, इस वक्त क़यामत में तुम्हें जाने दूं कैसे, इस वक्त क़यामत में तुम्हें जाने दूं कैसे। ए लाल जो तुम इज़्ने वफ़ा मांग रहे हो, तुम बाप से मरने की रज़ा मांग रहे हो। अकबर तुम्हें मालूम है तुम बाप से, अकबर तुम्हें मालूम है तुम बाप से, क्या गुज़रेगी इस बाप के दिल पर नहीं सोचा, क्या गुज़रेगी इस बाप के दिल, तुमने ये मेरी जान अली अकबर नहीं सोचा। आप लोग में मदद करो बोलने में। तुमने ये मेरी जान अली अकबर नहीं सोचा, मर जाऊंगा मैं तुझे से बिछड़ कर नहीं सोचा। तुम मुझे से ज़ईफ़ी का आसा मांग रहे हो, तुम बाप से अकबर तुम्हें मालूम है, तुम बाप से मरने की रज़ा मांग रहे हो। अकबर तुम्हें, तुम बाप से, अकबर तुम्हें, तुम बाप से, या हुसैन या हुसैन या
Husain, Ya Husain, Ya Husain, hey, Ya Husain, 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 Ya Husain. Husain, Ya Husain, Ya Husain, Ya Husain, Ya Husain, Ya Husain. بأبي أنت وأمي يا أبا عبد الله، بأبي